You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati Spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Bermel.
That's actually a lie. Kimberly Bermel and Dr. Bonati both not here today. Won't get into why, but we have myself, Ethan Euchre, our friend Jeff Wagstaff.
Ethan,
how's it
good
going?
Day.
Yep, holding down the fort. A lot of good stuff going on the show today. I'll give you a rundown in a little bit. The whole point of the show, especially if you're new to the show, is we highlight the work of Dr. Alfred Bonati, world-renowned spinal surgeon, came up with his own patented tools, procedures, fixes all kinds of problems, people that were paralyzed, couldn't walk, people that were brought in stretchers, walked out of there. I mean, the guy, he hates when we use the term, but he's a miracle worker. He really is.
If you've ever heard the term minimally invasive surgery, Dr. Bonati is the man who came up with it.
Literally came up with that term.
Developed the process. He didn't think it was a great idea to open somebody up like he was filleting a fish to work on their back. He goes in and I guess you could almost say surgical strikes, finds very concise areas to focus on. They never, at the Bonati Spine Institute, never put you out under full sedation.
Right.
It's called a conscious IV sedation. You're awake, aware, but you're relaxed, and the operation is completely pain-free, and you're able to coach the doctors as they're doing the procedure to make sure they get the pain that you need to have solved.
Exactly. They find the root of the problem and get rid of it.
Well said. Considering I stumbled there.
No, you did a good job. Great show lined up today. We'll speak with a former stealth bomber pilot turned author who has a medical condition called synesthesia. It's so hard to say. Synesthesia, right? Brittany? Brittany's nodding yes. Okay.
Easy for you to say.
No, it's not. But if you've never heard of it, which a lot of people haven't, when I brought this to Kimberly's attention, she's like, what is that? I've actually read about this since I was a teenager. I did a paper on LSD and hallucinogens and people. It's a melding of the senses where you can see colors and hear or see sounds and taste colors. It's weird stuff.
You just did a paper on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plenty of paper. Bunch of papers on that.
Understood.
But anyway, this guy, again, former stealth bomber, he's an author, and he has synesthesia, and he's going to explain what it is and what it's like to live with that. We'll also discuss, of course, the inauguration of Donald Trump with our friend, political analyst Mike Doherty. Then, actually, we're going to replay, since Dr. Bonati isn't here, and the fourth segment is always his segment, we're actually going to replay one of my favorites from just a couple of months ago where Bonati talks about the greatest generation, which were, World War II people and what needs to be done to get America great again.
And as Ethan had said earlier, unfortunately, Dr. Bonati and Kimberly aren't able to join us today. And I know it's got to kill the doc because there's nothing more that he would want to talk about today than the Trump inauguration and making America great again.
Yep, we'll get into it. But up first.
In today's Back to Life segment, we will talk to a patient of the Bonati Spine Institute who went from living a life that was restricted by pain and discomfort through their journey of finding the Bonati Spine Institute and are now living pain-free.
Joining us on the phone from St. Pete, Florida, right across the bay, Rolando Quiros. Did I say that properly, Rolando?
Yeah, actually, you said it right.
I can't.
That's amazing.
I can't roll my R's like you should be able to, but I'm a German white guy from upstate New York, so forgive me.
Hey, man, I'm Colombian, so it comes with the territory.
I love it.
Rolando, thank you for joining the show.
There you go. Jeff can do it. All right, so Rolando, let's get into your story. It's all about you. How did you start to experience pain? When, where on your body? What was the pain like? Take it away.
Okay, so the pain actually started in my 20s. If you get a little, traffic in the background, I'm actually walking on my lunch break because I'm walking around pain-free because Dr. Bonati.
Look at that.
But
we don't even have to finish the interview.
Yeah, there you go.
You're pain-free. Now go ahead.
Walking testimony. But no, it actually started in my late 20s. I was in the hospitality business. I was a bartender for a very long time. I'm actually still bartend now. Now that I'm pain free, I can actually go back to it. It's actually one of my hobbies, my passions. But I noticed in my 20s, just a lot of tightness, and I was doing a lot of martial arts, doing a lot of weightlifting and stuff back then, and just doing it incorrectly and just tearing my back up. So around in my mid-30s, I spoke to somebody, I was having really bad back issues, so I went and saw a specialist, actually in St. Pete. And he pretty much told me, he's like, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 35. He's like, well, you got the back of a 50-year-old. I'm like, oh, that's not good.
No.
Because, he's like, whatever you've done for the last, couple decades is just really tore up your back and made things pretty uncomfortable. And he's like, right now you don't need surgery. And, flash forward about a year and a half ago, I was in telecom sales for a cable company here in Tampa Bay. And, I was working out, doing the martial arts, doing CrossFit, and was deadlifting about 455 and
Jesus.
then, got it up. Everything was fine. When I was putting it down, that's when the pop happened and, excruciating pain radiated from my back into my right glute, down my hamstring, wrapped around the side of my knee, and then down my leg and then up into my foot. And, that's when I started searching for surgery options. I mean, I've done epidural shots, chiropractic help, heat and ice, you name it, I've done it. So it was to the point where, I just had to find somebody who could, take care of the issue. I had a previous back surgery before that, off a recommendation of a coworker, and it was good. Relieved a lot of pain, but, long story short, I re-injured myself, because they're like, yeah, you can go back to normal activity. You should be fine.
And just to interrupt, Rolando, the surgery you had was at a facility that was not the Bonati Spine Institute, correct?
Oh, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like I said, I went off of a recommendation from a coworker that had nothing to do with Bonati.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's funny, when I did re-injure myself, I went back to that spine center, and they were like, oh, well, you ruptured the same disc that we repaired.
Oh.
I'm like, okay. Like, how did that happen? He said, I was fine. I was going to go back to normal activity. So then that's when I started searching for a different alternative. Went and talked to another doctor in Clearwater. And the first location and then this new doctor, their idea was to go ahead and repair one disc, come back in 3 months, repair another disc, because apparently I had about 4 herniated discs that, one was really bad and the other 3 were going as well.
Wow. And none of those were fixed from your prior surgery, or you re-injured them?
No, they didn't even address them, which is kind of
a little scary.
Shocking, because, they were pretty bad.
Right. Well, we always say that over half of the patients that come to Bonati had failed procedures at other facilities, and then they have to come to Bonati for him to fix the errors of others. So that's not really that surprising.
So Rolando,
I could totally believe it. I mean, it's to the point where the fact that nobody else addressed the other discs that were damaged. I just mentioned one. He was the only one to ever mention all 4 discs, and if it wasn't for him, I'd still probably be in pain.
So what eventually led you to Bonati Spine Institute to seek treatment?
Well, I Googled him. A friend of mine told me about her, or she told me about him, that she lived in Ohio and heard about him. And so I'm like, well, this guy's right here in my backyard. I mean, I've got to look him up. Hold on one second.
He's got to order lunch.
I have another 3. Large Diet Coke.
Sorry. We're walking in the park here, and we just found a pair of little girl sunglasses and a pacifier, and there's a little girl over here. We thought it was hers. So,
good Samaritan there.
Well, tell us about the initial visit to the Bonati Institute, your evaluation, and how you moved into surgery.
Okay. So as far as the initial consult, went in, started talking to the people there. They're like, what are your issues? What are your pains? Kind of explained everything. Then they're like, all right, well, let's do some blood work. Let's do some MRIs. We'll have you meet with Dr. Bonati. And so, that went very quickly, very smoothly. These guys know their jobs backwards and forwards. They all professionals, just top notch. Knocked everything out quickly to the point where when I did get to speak to Dr. Bonati, we had all the information that we needed. He had the MRIs available. He also, it was kind of crazy, very unorthodox. He's like, you're going to sit there. I'm going to ask you questions. You tell me yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
Never had that happen before. And by him looking at my MRIs and my X-rays, he's just like, "You're having this pain here, this pain there, this is going here, there," and I'm just like, "Yes, yes, yes, yeah." So
yeah, that's what Dr. Bonati is famous for, that where he can just look at your MRI. He doesn't want you to tell him what's wrong with you. He wants to just look at it and tell you what's wrong and see if you agree. All right, only a couple minutes left, Rolando, so let's jump ahead. You're in the operating room. Tell us about that experience in the conscious IV sedation.
It was actually surreal. It was really cool. The fact that I was coherent and knowing exactly what was happening helped direct the whole operation. I had 4. So by my second one, third one, I was like, "Yep, down, left, right there. Yep, go ahead and cut that out." And then it was crazy. You have somebody in front of you with anesthesia, just making sure you're okay the whole time. The doctors are talking to you. Everybody's talking to you. You know what's going on the whole time. So it's really amazing.
Rolando, you have a pretty unique experience as you've had spine work done by other doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you had done before, compared to what you had done at the Bonati Institute in 30 seconds or less, how would you compare, and would you feel comfortable recommending Dr. Bonati to a friend who was suffering the same kind of pain you were?
I've already referred Dr. Bonati out a couple of patients. Anybody I talk to that says, "I have a back problem," I'm like, "I know who you need to talk to. If you've done your due diligence, he's the person you need to worry about and go and see." And, it's remarkable. It's like day and night.
Excellent. Well, we appreciate you joining us, Rolando, and sharing your story. Yet another success story. We hope to hear many more, and we hope you continue to live pain-free. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Continued
it.
good health, sir.
All right. If you or someone you know is experiencing pain like Rolando's, give a call to 855-267-0482, 855-267-0482. If you can't remember that, visit Bonati.com. It's the easiest way to do that. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk to a former stealth bomber pilot who suffers from a neurological phenomenon known as synesthesia. It's a blending of the senses. It's pretty surreal. Stay tuned. You're listening to American Medicine Today.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect 98.75% patient satisfaction. 50,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Over half our patients have suffered from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years, and it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results, no pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone, nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now, I can garden, I can cook, and I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Wow, you look really different, Dr. Bonati. And I look different as Kimberly Brumell, do I not?
Unfortunately, Kimberly and Dr. Bonatti are unable to join us for today's show, so
We're holding it down.
Ethan and I are holding down the fort.
Jeff Wagstaff, Ethan Euchre here. Really excited about this one, and I know Kimberly was excited too. Unfortunately, she got called away, couldn't do the show today, but very interesting neurological phenomenon known as synesthesia. It's a blending of the senses, which was once considered a mental illness. And our next guest can share what it's like to experience this interesting condition. His name is James R. Hannibal. He's a former stealth bomber pilot, which I could probably spend the whole interview just talking about
that.
How
Absolutely.
cool that is in the U.S. Air Force. He's written a book called The Lost Property Office, and he's here to tell us about the book, and it's based upon having synesthesia. So thank you for being here, James.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm excited to be with you.
James, Ethan does a great job of researching our guest and giving us some information, but the more I read about your condition, the more baffled I am. So if you could, try to explain to us how your senses blend and what that's like for you.
Well, it does confuse a lot of people, even science. They've had a lot of trouble sort of classifying synesthesia and understanding it. And what they used to say is that synesthetes failed to develop a wall between their senses. And so I used to hate to admit that I was a synesthete because it was like saying, well, yes, my brain is underdeveloped.
Right.
That is an incorrect theory. A recent study has determined that synesthetes actually did not fail to build wall. The hemispheres of our brain actually built bridges. And so synesthesia is like having bridges between your senses. So when I see flashes of light and quick movements, I hear sounds associated with those. When I hear sounds like a bird chirping or a lawnmower going by, I see color and texture associated with those sounds.
So while we're talking to you, James, I mean, are you getting a sense of colors do you get it from people's voices, things like that, or it comes and goes, it's only certain things?
Absolutely. You have a yellowish orange voice with little gray bumpy things on the bottom.
That sounds like a disease, but I'll take it. What about Jeff? Say a few things, Jeff.
I am just completely blown away by this because it's just so... I've never even imagined anything like this. This is completely new to me. So I'm curious, what are you getting from me?
You're yellow with sort of green where the gray bumpies were, probably because I think the bumpiness comes through because we're speaking through a telephone line.
Right. That makes sense.
Now,
when some of the prep shows us that, like, if you hear a caboose, you may see the bright red color. Do the colors that you associate with, are those the actual colors of the item, or do you associate different colors with different items?
I associate different colors with different items, which can be confusing. For instance, I'm sort of a rare synesthete in that I have multiple forms and many bridges between my senses. Most synesthetes, or the most common form is chromesthesia, in which they associate sounds with colors and textures. I also have other crosses. So the best way to answer your question is with smell. Smells give me color and texture. And that, of course, is related to taste. And so if I eat key lime pie, I see orange. Normally, you would associate that. So my brain does the same associations that everyone else's brain does. When I bite into a candy that's key lime flavored, my brain says green by association, but my synesthesia says orange by taste.
That's so interesting. I could ask you a million questions, and we still do have some time, but the whole reason you're on here, we'll save those questions for after. Let's talk about your book, The Lost Property Office. Why did you decide to have, because this is young adult fiction, correct? And I think your main character is a 13-year-old. You decided to give that character synesthesia. Tell us why you decided to do that.
Well, I was doing a bit of a recreation of the Sherlock Holmes hyper-observant detective. And when I was deciding how I was going to do this, at the same time that I was working on this, I was actually flying deployed in place combat ops with Predator drones. And my synesthesia was actually helping me catch bad guys. So I thought, if I'm going to do this reinterpretation, let's get the word out about synesthesia. Let's pour my experience of synesthesia into Jack. And like many synesthetes, he doesn't realize that he has it. I didn't realize that I had it until I was in my 30s. I didn't understand that other people didn't experience the world the way I do. So Jack is this 13-year-old American who, feels the world pressing in on him because of this sort of hyper-observant nature of synesthesia, although we never actually say synesthesia in the book. And so when he goes to London in search of his missing father, he discovers that there's more to him, more to his dad than he ever thought. And when he discovers this secret society of detectives on Baker Street at the Lost Property Office, his friend that he connects with, Gwen, helps him turn what he felt like was a disability into a superpower that helps him rescue his dad and stop a mad clockmaker from recreating the Great Fire of London and killing millions.
James, that is so cool of you, because I know when Ethan and I were in school, your character's age, any kid that was different in any way, kids were ruthless.
Oh, yeah.
And today, children are much more accepting of kids with special needs or kids who are different, kids who are poor, just whatever the case may be. So what a great way to get that message out so that other young people can understand it.
Absolutely.
Right. And I hope that some kids, will read this and go, wait, because Jack's synesthesia in the book is very, very similar, even though we take it to extreme levels with sort of the superpower. It's very, very similar to what a child experiencing these forms of synesthesia will see. And so some of these kids will hopefully read this and say, wait a second, I feel that, or maybe I should look into this, or a teacher will recognize one of their students in some of the things they read in the book, and hopefully, we can identify child synesthetes. It really can become a superpower if you capitalize it, because synesthetes also see colors and letters and numbers and concepts as color, and so it can help with memorization, it can help with math, it can help with being able to observe things. It helped me capture or helped me help the Marines capture a bad guy in Afghanistan. So synesthesia is not just sort of a disability, which it's not. It's a neurological phenomenon. It can be something that you can capitalize on.
Very interesting.
Perfect. Where can people get the book? Everywhere, I'm guessing?
Everywhere. And, of course, you can find more about it at thelostpropertyoffice.com.
Perfect. Also, real quick, one of our coworkers here, Brittany, and we don't even have time to let you answer it on the air because we're done, but she said she watches the show House, and they had an episode where there was like an Air Force pilot who had synesthesia, and House had to help that person. Do you know anything about that, and were you the sort of inspiration for that, quickly?
No, I had no idea. I'll have to look that up.
Absolutely. He didn't know, Brittany. Okay. All right. Well, very cool. James R. Hannibal, former stealth bomber pilot with the Air Force. New book called The Lost Property Office. Pick it up, lostpropertyoffice.com. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Have a great day.
Thanks, James.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I could talk to him all day.
Dude, I wanted to know, that was another thing I really wanted to know was how, he said it twice, how he used his ability to catch bad guys using drones and things. I really want to hear that story. Maybe we'll have him back on. Anyway, got to take a break. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the inauguration of now President Donald Trump with our friend Mike Doherty. Stick around. It's American Medicine Today.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years, and it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome has been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Here are Dr. Bonatti and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Actually, Dr. Bonatti, Kimberly not here today, which is a damn shame, really, because they've been shaking the pom-poms for Donald Trump for a year and a half. Jeff Wagstaff here with me. I'm Ethan Euchre.
This would have been like Christmas morning for Dr. Bonatti.
It'd been like right after the week of the election, we had the show, and Doc was here, and he was just going bonkers. I mean, he was doing cartwheels around the room. Unfortunately, he's not here today, so that's a little crazy. You and I, at least I, when rewind 2 years ago when Trump was going to run, I literally looked at Doc and laughed when he said that he's like, Donald Trump's going to make America great again. I'm like, are you insane? This guy is entertaining. I like Trump as a person, as a personality. I liked Celebrity Apprentice. I just thought at the time he was sort of like a circus sideshow. He'd be a flash in the pan. Who was wrong? This guy right here. Who was right? Dr. Bonatti.
Well, Ethan, you'll remember early on I was a big Rubio supporter. I still think he's a good man, but I've also come to accept that Trump has the ability to change politics as normal, which I think deep down, no matter what side you're on, right wing, left wing, whatever, people know we've got to do things differently.
Absolutely.
So I really hope that now that the Trump administration is in office, we can come together as a country. Hopefully his inauguration speech was the beginning of that, and we can move forward.
All right. Well, let's bring in our expert guest. You and I don't really know anything. We just have opinions. We're regular people.
Let's talk to somebody who knows what they're doing.
Somebody who does know a thing or two is Mike Dougherty. He's the author of Devil Inside the Beltway. How's it going, Mike?
Well, it's going well. I actually just told a friend I feel like after the transition of power that I'm in post-op recovery after having a tumor removed. So I'm just sort of, I honestly am as excited that the prior administration's over as I am with what's coming in the future. But it's been something I never thought I'd see, and I don't like to wish my life away, but I'm glad that's over.
Oh man, it was a terrible, tiresome year and a half to 2 years of the campaigning and just people bickering back and forth. I didn't even want to go on social media because, I have friends on both sides and I'm a little more down the middle and I have opinions on both sides. And so you don't want to really, at least I don't really want to take sides because I never really had a dog in the show. And, just how divisive everything was this election and the mudslinging and pitting everyone against each other. I totally agree. I'm totally glad that it's over with.
The thing that's so disappointing, though, is I think back to when President Carter was elected, when Ronald Reagan was elected, when both of the Bushes were elected, when Clinton was elected. Half the country lost.
Right.
But we always came together as a country to support that new president, and this is the first time in my lifetime that that's never happened, and I'm certainly hopeful that the Trump administration can create some unity.
Well, I think that has a lot to do with the tentacles of political power leaving and getting very deep in the media and turning media from news into theater. And so and the problem is those people, I don't know what happened to the course in journalistic ethics and objectivity, but that is gone. And it's terrifying because they don't protect the people. And then things get extremely out of balance. And when things are out of balance, kind of like when the weather is out of balance, you get huge storms. And, what is happening during those huge storms is the bad people they don't wear devil costumes in real life. They say sweet and lovely things. And then you're forced to actually come to a breaking point where you shatter the glass and you throw it down, but then you have to be somewhat, make people uncomfortable. And that's what's really happened here, because we had just hope and change, and hope wasn't changing, and nothing was working. And what we got in exchange was patronization, denial of just Rachel Maddow yesterday said, it was a few days ago, she said, who else about Obama can say he had a scandal-free administration? And, there are people that believe that. That is just, there's so many factually incorrect things. And so now what's interesting is now the left is in complete disarray and meltdown mode. And you are seeing the fringes throw a massive temper tantrum. And I have to say, honestly, I think at their peril, because no one likes, fighting and disagreeing and name-calling is bad. But assault, battery, egging, and then the media coming up to 50 people acting like it's 1,000. Those are the type of things that people are tired of. And I think the people that felt so voiceless, especially at the Obama, the second election with Romney, feel very empowered now. It's such a different feel. People just finally, which is a great thing, got up out of their living rooms and went to the voting booth. And that privacy is a sacred thing. And you shouldn't have to tell anyone how you vote. That is sacrosanct. And, some people really don't like what they saw. And then, it's still a process now. Now Donald Trump just set the big stage for himself. He set the bar very high, which is what competitive, aggressive entrepreneurs do. It's what politicians are loath to do. And he's just shattering rules left and right. It's pretty amazing. I'm enjoying it, and boy, I hope it works.
Michael, question. You have a unique perspective. You run a medical facility as a business. So you understand both the side of medicine and the side of business and insurance. The critics are saying, well, Trump can't repeal until he comes up with a new plan. Here's the question. How can he take the idea of building better health care and implement it effectively? Because now there's this conversation about, well, is Trump going to cover all Americans or make health care accessible to all Americans? It's a very, very complicated process.
Well, it's only complicated when you do something really dumb and we have to untie it. And that is, when I'm sick, I don't call my congressman, I don't call my president, I don't call my senator. I call my doctor. And we have, as a people, passively validated politicians, lawyers, anyone in those positions of powers to, for some unbeknown reason, think they understand medicine. And, big shock, it's screwed up. Now, what do you expect? I mean, I don't just hop into a plane and fly it without a load of training. What do you think's going to happen? So what does that mean? That means really get everyone's hands off of it that don't know what they're doing. So he thinks like a businessman, right? So he's putting Tom Price at Health and Human Services. Duh, good. Tom's an orthopedic surgeon who I've happened to know for years because we worked at the same hospital in Atlanta. And that's wonderful. And hats off to Tom Price, because I have to tell you, a surgeon's mentality is not to be the top of an agency. So this guy is a patriot. Same thing with Sonny Perdue, head of agriculture. The guy is a brilliant farm-raised veterinarian, just amazing people that have experience. We have got to rely on experts, and then let the free market help itself and heal itself. All this cronyism in medicine started with Richard Nixon and his brilliant idea of the HMO. And I'm telling you, we have had 3 decades of just a royal mess, and we've got to just get these, quite frankly, arrogant and ignorant people's hands off the throat of the patient.
My concern has always been, and something that I've thrown out on this show a number of times, is I agree with you. We need experts involved, but I think they need to have an expertise both in medicine and the business of medicine and insurance, because those are 2 vastly different skill sets. So I've always suggested someone like the governor of Florida, Rick Scott, who he takes a lot of heat, but Rick has a background in running hospitals as well as now he understands how the government works. And I almost feel like you need a little of both of that. What say you?
Well, you might, but I will tell you also need to take the hands of the insurance carriers off the throat of the patient, because anyone that has priority over money primarily is a problem. For example, insurances I'll speak about what I do in laboratory medicine. They make decisions on where laboratory specimens go based on price and volume. And don't let anyone tell you any differently. That's as far as it goes. So the lowest price gets the bid. Now, you take low price affordable insurance, which, by the way, the price of that keeps going way up, and you have a cancer test. You don't get to choose where it goes. You don't get to have it sent to the specialist with the most experience in that type of cancer. You have to send it, by and large, to Quest or LabCorp or someone within that network, not based on expertise. That is something that insurance carriers hoodwink politicians on and people that don't work in medicine, because they don't know. They don't know what they don't know, but they've got power. So these people, I mean, that's the next thing. And this is what I like about Trump, opening up insurance across state lines so that we have competition go down. Because in hindsight, the reality of managed care before Obamacare just shifted money to insurance companies and their executives. It did not bring costs down. You can't take an oligopoly and replace it with a monopoly and expect patients to have more power or better service. It just doesn't happen. But it's the perfect storm, because the ultimate customer is a sick person toward the end of their life. And by the time they're educated in the realities, they got one foot in the grave. And the system goes on. It's the perfect storm of exploitation. So I don't know that, yes, business has to be involved, but there again, you've got to have a change agent like Trump or someone else that's going to stand up to these big boys.
Absolutely. Hey, Mike.
Big boys.
Mike, we're up against the break. Can you hang out for another segment?
Oh, sure.
Okay, perfect. Again, Michael Dougherty, author of Devil Inside the Beltway. And maybe we'll even talk about your book a little bit. It's very interesting stuff. DevilInsideTheBeltway.com. So I'm going to put you on hold. Hang on, Mike. We'll be back with him.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect 98.75% patient satisfaction. 50,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Over half our patients have suffered from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now, I can garden, I can cook, and I'm really thrilled. The outcome has been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Bermel.
Thanks for still continuing to listen to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Bermel with my friend Ethan Euchre.
I am glad to be here, friend.
Yes.
Yes.
Aren't we all?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, thank you for continuing to listen on the affiliates, right?
That is correct.
Yes.
Our flagship station is based out of Tampa. It's 970 WFLA. They, unfortunately, have to dip out early in the program.
Yep.
Everyone else gets to listen to this luxurious...
It's just for you.
...extra segment.
Yes.
So what I wanted to talk about is a lot of people don't realize American Medicine Today is not only a radio show, but we also have...
You have two components.
Yes, we have a television show as well.
Yes.
And I've heard a lot of people... I have a lot of friends that work in sports radio, and a lot of times they'll be out at sports bars to cover different college football games and things like that. And
there we are.
And because of the time, we're on at 7 o'clock, right? In the Tampa market.
In the Tampa market and 6 throughout the United States.
Yep, on Bloomberg.
Yes.
A lot of times I'll get pictures texted to me from buddies that in a packed bar, they're waiting for a football game to start and we're the lead in. And they're like, look at this guy up on the TV.
Yeah.
But
we're a great lead in.
It is.
Yes.
But it's an interesting show and we get to do some really cool things. And a recent episode, it might be the one tonight, is Clearwater Marine Aquarium.
Yeah, CMA.
We got to head out there, and people would know that because of Dolphin Tale.
Yes.
Have you watched it yet?
I only saw part of the movie. I tried to turn it on too late. Yeah, and I couldn't possibly keep my eyes open. And I wanted to, and I struggled. And I saw probably half of the movie.
Well, and you have a child. You would think I don't have any kids, and yet I made myself watch the movie. I say I made myself. It was a good movie.
It's a great movie, and it's not just any old movie. It's based on reality of what really happened. And so Winter the dolphin, so cute. I got like within striking distance.
Yep.
I guess if you would call petting distance, how about that?
I love you equate it with like I'm just gonna beat the hell out of this dolphin.
I didn't mean it that way.
You
I
and
just
your stubby tail.
No, I was thinking, what if she got mad and through her blowhole, she just like spit water on me? I thought I was in like striking distance.
That would have been great TV.
I'm not a violent person. You take it there. I don't go there.
You said striking distance.
I love animals.
No, but you were able to get right down next to Winter.
My goodness, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was
I wanted to jump in and play with her. Yeah.
But they won't let you.
I know.
And then you had to take off all your jewelry and things.
I did, yes.
I knew that was going to be a big issue with Kimberly because she likes her jewelry.
I do.
And
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it was pretty cool just seeing the whole backstory of what happened with Winter. Obviously, people that have seen the movie know the backstory.
Right. But creating the prosthesis.
No, we actually got to talk to the people involved. David Yates, who runs the aquarium, who was actually the mastermind behind turning Winter's story into a film. He took over as the marketing director at Clearwater Marine Aquarium, and he said, "You know what? We really I gotta find something to take this place to the next level."
Yes, and he did.
And Winter was like 2 months old, I think. Got caught in a crab trap.
Lost her tail.
Ended up losing her tail.
And a couple vertebrae. Yeah.
A couple vertebrae. Had to relearn how to swim.
Oh, she's a fighter.
Total fighter. They didn't expect her to live for more than a couple of days.
It is really a gut-wrenching story when you think about it. This thing survived against all odds, taught herself how to swim differently than what dolphins typically do because she had that fight in her.
Yeah, typically a dolphin, as you know, swims
up and down.
with an up and down motion, and Winter didn't have those tail fins. What are the fins? Flukes.
Flukes,
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ben. They're called tail flukes. Yeah. And Winter didn't have those to propel her forward, so she started moving it side to side.
Like a shark.
Which worked,
But it also was at the cost of her spine.
Yeah, they said that she was going to have major problems with her back, so they had to come up with a solution. And they contacted a company in Japan, I believe, that had made one for another dolphin named Fuji.
Right, but not necessarily the same problem.
It wasn't. It was a different problem, and I don't think it was as flexible. And
correct.
They ended up teaming up with, Hanger Clinic. Thank you. Ben should just crack a mic.
I know.
He's got all the info. But no, it was just a great story, and to be able to see the tail, we held the tail
and felt a skin that actually not only helped Winter acclimate to her tail, but it's actually helping humans.
Yeah, they literally invented something called, and it's called Winter's
Skin.
Gel.
Or Winter's Gel, yeah.
Yeah, or both. And what they do is they needed something that would cushion and keep it from abrading her skin. So kind of a barrier between the tail and Winter's Skin.
Yeah.
So they invented this stuff, again, called Winter's Gel. And now it's being used everywhere.
Yep. And in fact, on one of our shows that we just taped, we met a double amputee. And I asked the question, I said, is that Winter's Gel? And he said, yes, it is. And it's amazing how things come full circle.
How everything ties in.
Yeah.
And you kind of just randomly asked him that.
I did. When I saw he was a double amputee, and I went, oh, because I thought maybe I was going to steer him in a really cool direction. He's like, hey, I use it. It's right here. And he met Winter the dolphin, and he was actually in the movie. What a small world.
He was an extra. That's crazy. But anyway, so our visit to CMA is going to be an upcoming episode of the television show. Really cool. And it was cool just to go out there and get to see that pelican and, all the Rufus.
Yeah.
That was his name, right?
Yeah.
And then Mavis, I think, the turtle. It was just really neat to see. And then The Office that Harry Connick Jr.'s character uses. We got to we actually filmed interviews in there. So
we got to take some selfies.
That was pretty neat. Well, you're the queen of selfies, so.
Me?
Yeah, you.
I'm usually the queen of taking everyone else's picture.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I have yet to see that. But anyway, we did the CMA show.
This is what you get when you work with a bunch of men. But I work with some women, then they're sitting here and they have the Ethan.
Actually, we're outnumbered. Ben and I are outnumbered. I don't know what you're
we
talking
have
about.
an amazing team. But and then we also made it out to St. Cloud, Florida, because they're helping veterans that suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder and other special needs individuals with equine therapy. Right?
Yeah, it's essentially a horse farm, and they teamed up with UCF, the University of Central Florida, to help these soldiers. They also help people with disabilities. People with autism, CP, cerebral palsy, different things like that.
And that's at the McCormick Research Institute.
In St. Cloud, right. And that's where we met the double amputee that had the winter skin. And it's pretty interesting to see sort of his story, which you'll see on an upcoming episode as well, that he got hit by a mortar, correct? He was in a Humvee, got hit by a mortar, blew the hell out of his Humvee, and there will be photos
just
that he let us use.
Stuff. And
lost both of his legs.
Yeah, and he was talking about how he tried to keep himself calm. It's really a shame what the country does to the veterans when they put their lives on the line. And what struck me is looking at the pictures, because we all line up and we can't wait to get into that action film or a military film. And it's not necessarily always based on reality. And you see these pictures and they're so graphic, and you realize this man lived through it, and he didn't get knocked unconscious. He was very well aware
the whole time.
He lost his legs, and he said that he knew he couldn't panic, because if he panicked, he would bleed out. So it was just amazing to hear his thought process. And he said in his mind, he was more upset. He lost his boots.
Yeah.
Brand new boots.
And to hear him tell that story was just insane. He said, I looked down, my one leg was gone. I looked at my other leg, and it was basically turned completely around.
Yeah, facing him.
Yeah, facing him. And he said, I told myself to stay calm because if my heart rate got up, because I would bleed out. And yeah, I think he yelled to one of it, because he was, I think, the sergeant. So he had soldiers under him, and he was yelling to them that he was angry.
To be in that mindset.
Yeah. But he was angry about his boots because he just had a brand new pair of boots, and he really liked those boots. So, but he came back here, suffered from PTSD, and didn't want to leave the house, had some pretty dark thoughts, I believe, at times. And the McCormick Research Institute has really helped him through their equine therapy. Right. So
it's a 10-week program. Amazing stuff occurs there. And most of the people that go through it want to end up working there in some capacity as a volunteer.
They don't want to leave. It's such a good time. But anyway, almost out of time. That's going to be on another upcoming episode. And for the radio show, we're actually going to have, his name is Mike, the soldier. We're going to have him on an upcoming radio show as well.
Great patriot, just an amazing individual.
For sure.
With so much life left to live, and thank God he chose to seek help.
That's right.
Well, that about wraps things up. Make sure you check us out on Facebook. You can like us on Facebook. You can tweet at Dr. Bonatti using hashtag AMT or hashtag American Medicine Today. We always like to hear from you, so make sure you message us. Let us know what you think. And we'll see you next time. Talk at you. Bye-bye.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect 98.75% patient satisfaction. 50,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Over half our patients have suffered from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
To American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonatti Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonatti spine procedures, Alfred Bonatti, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonatti and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Actually, Kimberly and Doc not here this week, but Jeff Wagstaff hanging out. I am Ethan Euchre. How's it going, Jeff?
Couldn't be better.
Excellent, excellent. Still talking about President Trump, the inauguration. A lot of good stuff to talk about. We wanted to continue the conversation with our friend Michael Dougherty. He is the author of Devil Inside the Beltway. The website is thedevilinsidethebeltway.com. How's it going, Mike?
It's going well. How are you?
I am good. Go ahead, Jeff.
Michael, I'm all fired up about something, and I want to get your opinion.
Uh-oh.
As long as I have been alive, no matter how the election is gone, at the end of the day, the parties come together. We as a country celebrate the peaceful transfer of power, not necessarily that person that's elected, but the process. And this year, that's not happening. We've got dozens of congressmen who are sitting out. I personally feel like it's a tragedy. I feel like it's un-American.
People are either pissed or they're gloating. That seems to be the division of the population. They're either pissed that Trump's in office or they're gloating that he's in office. And then there's people like me who are just kind of like, well, it's our president, so deal with it. You know?
Where do you come in on all this?
Well, I think that someone during the inauguration had a very good point. I forget who it was about, it not showing up is very unsupportive of other Democrats that did show up. And this is, I think, we could see the Democratic Party imploding right before our eyes, as far as they are now. They've been taken over by extremists. Barack Obama was an extreme, radical, liberal guy who tried to hide it as long as he could because he knew it would have never gotten him elected. And as he got more and more in place, it became more evident. Extremely evident so that people were stunned when he won again, and very clearly evident when he told the Russians, I can do more after I win again, when he said that in 2008. So I think it's a long time coming because I think it's just a reset. When you go extreme, then you have extreme pushback in anything that gets off balance. And the Obama administration was extremely off balance. And so that drives a lot of fighting. As far as the specific people that stood up, they're all, that didn't show up. They're all in very safe districts. Very few, if any, leadership positions. They're just doing what they do, which unfortunately now is all they've got. They have, if you look at the advances of the African American community in the last 60 years, they've been terrible. So these people now only have rhetoric. They do, and fear and emotional stirring, and it's sad because they exploit their own. And it's not like 50, 60 years ago when it was a new world and these were new civil rights and they were going to build a bridge. There's many people that are exploiting their own in that movement, and that's what they're doing. And I think it will boomerang big time because Trump will start getting things done, and he's got Barack Obama was this double-edged sword. He was extremely personally popular. That's extremely rare. And his popularity was very detached from his policies. If people would judge him on just his policies and not him personally, he scored as low as anyone else in that situation. And he decimated, and this is just what he did and didn't do. He decimated his party across local, state, and federal levels. He never visited his own party in Congress. I mean, behind the scenes, they should be upset with him because he's extremely selfish. And since he never visited Congress, he thought he was a king, and he did extremist things and never reached across the aisle. And this is the hypocrisy of it all. They try to blame everyone else for this. He's the one that didn't reach across the aisle. He is the one that didn't negotiate. He is the one that filed executive orders like crazy, and executive orders can be wiped away by the next executive. So he has a very shallow legacy that won't be around long. So what do you see? You see temper tantrums in the street by people that are, many of them hired.
Yeah, paid protesters.
And during the inauguration in D.C., they were throwing batteries, they were throwing eggs, they were assaulting people, they were being, harassing, verbally abusive. I mean,
but they're so tolerant, those people.
I'm sorry?
I said, but they're so tolerant, the left. What are you talking about?
And Michael...
Well, I mean, that's the thing. And this is, it's like, really, when someone shows you who they are, believe them.
True colors.
And
speaking of the inauguration, though, Michael...
The irony of Trump was that he just is not going to apologize for anything. And we are so hungry for authenticity that we'll take that over perfection. Mm-hmm. And, the best, most sophisticated seducer is Barack Obama. He is a magnificent seducer. But he never came through with the goods. And Trump is just, listen, word to the wise, those messages go right to the Republican establishment.
Michael, I want to jump in for a minute.
Those people are just as cowardly and ineffective.
I want to jump in, and you mentioned the inauguration. Looking back to Friday morning, the person that I have a newfound respect for, because had to be very, very difficult. While there were some of the congressmen were sitting at home as a crybaby during the inauguration, Hillary Clinton put her big girl pants on.
And they are big girl pants.
Came to Washington, and it had to be tough. She was defeated and defeated soundly. But she came in, she shook Trump's hand, and she was about the process.
She womaned up.
Absolutely. So I really have a lot of respect for her because I can't imagine how difficult that would have been.
Well, you're much nicer than me.
What are your true thoughts?
It's good. It's good. It's good. But those people, this is the interesting thing about all this.
Uh-oh. There's that word.
Those
people.
No, but those people can be friends today and go outside in 3 seconds and say the most vicious things about each other and then go have coffee together. Mm-hmm. I mean, in so many ways, it's like theater. And although I do think there's extremely bad blood, I don't think you'll ever see the Clintons and the Trumps. Years might heal the divide. I don't know. I mean, the Bushes were very Washington establishment,
right?
Very born of the manor. So there, you see the Bushes and the Clintons still talking, and everyone just gets along great. And they probably even voted for Hillary and alluded they would. But that is the other thing that needs to be exposed, and people have to get specific understanding of this.
Trump
many ways, Washington, D.C. is one vote, not two. And on the right are the Republicans, and on the left are the Democrats, but the fact they're in different votes is an illusion. And, it is very much the bureaucracy way outnumbers the politicians, and the bureaucracy has grown under both parties, and that's who's writing the rules and enforcing things. And when the bureaucracy screws up, those elected officials do nothing.
Michael
and
Daughtry.
It's gotten to a huge tipping point.
Michael Daughtry, Obamacare analysis and author of Devil Inside the Beltway. Where can they get your book, Michael?
Amazon is the best place. It's an audiobook, ebook, hardcover, and softcover.
Perfect. All right. Friend of the show, we love having you on, and I'm assuming we're going to have you on again down the road if the country doesn't erupt into chaos and flames and riots. So you take care of yourself, Mike.
Yeah, we made it this far. We'll be okay.
We'll be all right. All right. Have a good weekend.
All right, you too.
See ya. Devil Inside the Beltway, Michael Daughtry. He's a good dude. All right, well, that'll do it, Jeff. Again, the whole point of the show, even though Doc and Kimberly are not here, it is called American Medicine Today, even though we talk a lot of politics, current events. If you or someone you know is suffering from back, neck, sciatic pain, what have you, give a call. Dr. Bonati can fix you up. 855-267-0482. That's 855-267-0482. Or, of course, just visit Bonati.com. Any parting words, Jeff?
Thanks for listening. God bless America.
We're going to make it great again.
I'm excited.
Have a good weekend. See you.